Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and this is a quick update on what's happening at the Dakota Access Pipeline. The fact that the main camp has been largely vacated due to the eviction notice that was carried out Wednesday and Thursday, and that despite that setback, that there is still movement forward motion on civil disobedience, and then nonviolent protests against the pipeline, and then environmental contamination, and then also recognition of indigenous rights, including treaty rights, which have been largely violated by a corporation, Energy Transfer Partners, who are constructing the Dakota Access Pipeline on what is considered treaty land according to the 1851 agreement at Fort Laramie, and that this is with the permission of our federal government, and then also being enforced by certain agencies with our federal government, including National Park Service, ATF, FBI, etc. And so there's a lot of repressive action happening around this pipeline at the apparent instruction or instigation of a corporation that has taken over state government in North Dakota. And so I waited to see what would the response be by people on the ground there. I wanted to wait for wiser voices than mine to weigh in on the situation, and I was not disappointed. Chase Iron Eyes has been a very significant voice in terms of what has been happening, giving updates and things like that. There's an interview with Chase Iron Eyes by Jordan Charrington of TYT Politics, and I'm going to link that in the description. And then let Chase Iron Eyes, in his own voice, tell people what's going on, and then what's going to go on. And then there's another interview with Amy Goodman. She spoke with LaDonna Brave Bull Allard and Linda Black Elk. I read through that, and I believe that that is also a good summary of the events concerning this pipeline, and then the spiritual aspects of it, and then future actions, including the fact that there is a hearing that's approaching February 27th. This is the Cheyenne River Sioux, who have also issued a court challenge on this pipeline. And so the fight is not over, that it's moved into the courts. It's moved to Washington, D.C. It's moved to Dallas, Texas at Energy Transfer Partners headquarters. It's moved to other pipelines around the country. And so the fight continues. Another good article that I'm also going to link is a write-up by someone called Four Arrows. It's at Truth Out. And the interesting thing is with this write-up is it again gives an overall history of the events surrounding the pipeline, but then also four main challenges facing the people of the United States as a result. Not just Sioux Nation, the people of the United States, we're all going to be affected by what happened in North Dakota, including oppressive legislation that has been either passed or is being considered in North Dakota, and not just North Dakota, but Washington State, Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana. It's gonna roll. It's gonna rock your world when you see what these state houses are up to. Also, suppression of truth. The fact that people had to face the fact that mainstream media were willing and able and sometimes eager to read press releases by Energy Transfer Partners and the Morton County Sheriff without any fact checking, without any due diligence, to see that what they were reading on the news was actually the truth. And so it was citizen journalists who had to step into the gap and present that side of the story that was not being told, and that these journalists were actually targeted for arrest. But the story was able to get out, and so the effort to control the media narrative failed by Energy Transfer Partners. Also, acts of state terrorism, actual use of dogs, water cannons, rubber bullets, pepper spray, tear gas, flashbangs, etc. Things like this. Also, agents provocateurs sent in to agitate and then instigate a violent response by the police. Um, Withholding of access to emergency services and then needed resources. This was a form of repression. And we've seen that before, like with Katrina, where they controlled the population of post traumatic stress people who were suffering and then withheld water and medicine and first aid and food and shelter from them in order to control them. And then told very harmful stories about these people in the media to provide the impression that they didn't deserve help because they were apparently bad people, as the people who were trying to control that situation told everyone. And so we saw that with North Dakota as well. And then also divide and conquer tactics, also known as psychological warfare, and gaslighting, and even brainwashing of the greater population in North Dakota, usually due to mainstream media, and then also provoking racial responses, and to the point that no one was really sure what the true story was because they were being lied to. And so we've seen all of this in North Dakota. We are likely going to face it in the rest of the United States. It's already drifting to other states. This repressive effort to control media communication resources, including water itself. We see many corporations having free reign given to them to contaminate water wherever they feel like they want to contaminate it. And that means that what happens to a population that doesn't have water? They die. And the amount of effort to control the whole situation, to control the thought process, has been so intense. But again, the truth has gotten out. People are waking up. Even people you wouldn't expect are fighting back. Iowa farmers are fighting back because of the eminent domain issue. People who depend on water for livelihood, sports, and recreation. Farmers who use that water for their livestock, for the crops, for people who fish, use the water for fisheries, ranchers, anglers, sportsmen, people who use it for boating and recreation. Everyone's paying attention now, even the cities downstream that use that water for their own municipal water source. And so word has gotten out, and people are paying very close attention. And so this company, Energy Transfer Partners, is no longer able to move and slither around in the dark. People are very eyes on. And then also very aware that they cannot depend on this corporation for truth when it comes to news, that there are alternate news sources that must be utilized in order to get a full story. So anyway, I'm going to leave these links in the description. You can follow up and see where the actions are going, how you can still assist, for instance, with the divestment movement, which is still moving forward as more cities decide to distance themselves and cut their relationships with the banks that are sponsoring oppressive legislation, suppression of truth, acts of state terrorism, and divide and conquer tactics. So the work is going on. It's moving forward. The black snake is trying to escape, and it's not going to, I don't think. We're going to catch it. Good luck.